mum, dad, sister, everyone's there. There's a big giant balloon with world number one on, and we like get home and there's cake, like a cake, and we have this big celebration for it, and like that was better than being in the room and holding the trophy.
Do you think like kind of specific events have affected you like kind of mentally then, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Especially since coming out, I was always, I'm thick-skinned.
Yeah.
And then obviously the US Open thing happened, which was like the first real, really deep low.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm fine, I can deal with it. Obviously since, because I just won the World Billiards Championship and got to world number one as well. So I had things where I was like, it's worth it. All of this is worth it. Like abuse on the internet and all the debates about it and stuff they're still going on, and my results have kind of dropped off.
Right. Okay.
That just, I don't know, I just cracked. Straight up cracked. I couldn't go to work, I couldn't go to practice. I was just at home, locked away, stay out my way.
Yep.
That was it. Don't have the mental capacity and the energy to go and practice.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping that I just want to get back to my normal life. I want to. But yeah, I think the drive for me it literally just came from within. I think I genuinely put it down to my mum beating me at chess when I was a kid. That I really do. I need to add to them 2 titles.
Okay.
I think it's more of I need to concentrate more on my personal journey more than my sport journey.
Yeah.
I need to, sort my health out, and I'm going to be going through the surgery, so that's going to take like a big hit on it.
Okay. So it's an absolute pleasure today to welcome our very first professional snooker player to the show, who only started competing on the Women's Tour in 2021 and has already won the Women's Open in Australia and the US. So I'm delighted to welcome Jamie Hunter to the show to share her secrets and sacrifices of her professional journey so far, and much, much more. So Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So before we start, just so the listeners can get to know you a little bit better, my children have come up with 10 quick-fire would you rather questions. And because it's a family portrait, we have Sebastian, who's going to ask our first questions today. So you're going to take it away, Sebastian?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. There we go.
Would you rather game or read a book?
Game, 100%.
What would be your favourite game?
Oh, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. What's yours, Sebastian?
Probably like FIFA or Fortnite or something.
Yeah, I play FIFA a lot, I must admit.
Would you rather win $1 million or earn $1 million?
Oh, win. Easy route.
Win $1 million.
Would you rather have a takeaway or eat out?
Takeaway.
What's your favourite food?
Pasta.
Pasta. What would yours be, Sebastian?
Chips.
Chips. Nice, good old-fashioned traditional chips, eh? Yeah.
Would you rather explore the ocean or explore space?
Got to be space. I think the sea is terrifying.
I agree.
Would you rather wear Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
What would you prefer wearing, Sebastian?
Adidas.
Would
you rather own a Ferrari or a Lamborghini?
Well, I've drove a Lamborghini and I
Wow.
didn't like it, so I'm going to pick Ferrari.
How cool. How did that come about, Jamie?
I did like a driving experience
Cool.
up on a runway strip in York.
Okay.
So I basically just drove 200 mile an hour up and down a runway for a few hours.
That'd be good, wouldn't it, Sebastian?
Yeah. Would you rather play mixed doubles with Ronnie O'Sullivan
Sullivan
or Stephen Henry.
Stephen Hendry.
Stephen Henry.
I'm on the Hendry train, so it's got to be Hendry.
Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Too hot, but it takes a lot for me to get too hot. I'm the type of person who goes outside in 20-degree weather in a coat, so.
Would you rather listen to pop music or R&B music?
Oh, I'm a rock fan, so
Rock fan. Cool.
probably pop, I guess.
Cool. So do you know when you're say like training, when you're kind of practicing, do you listen to music then, or is it just something where you are, do you know, like kind of completely quiet and you're kind of concentrating?
A lot of the practice that I do is with other people,
Right. Okay.
so there's not usually normally any
Right.
music on.
Right. Okay.
But if I'm on my own,
Yeah.
I'm better with music.
Cool. Right.
I
Okay.
feel like it helps me, even when I was at school and
Yeah.
doing all my work and stuff, like music. I always had to have music in my ears.
Right. Okay.
But it's not the type of music that you think that would help people concentrate. Heavy metal, alternative rock,
Right. Okay.
partial to a bit of country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm also a big musicals fan, so my playlist is really strange. You can go from like somebody like screaming at you at the top of the lungs
Yeah.
to then crying at an ABBA song.
Would you rather win the UK Championship or the Masters?
Oh, it's got to be the Masters.
Masters. Super. Right. That finishes our 10 quickfire questions, doesn't it, Sebastian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to say thank you to Jamie?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right.
Lovely to talk to
We'll see you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sebastian.
Thank you very much for that, Jamie. Okay, so let's begin the next part of the show. So as you know, Jamie, the podcast is to shine the light on the secrets and sacrifices all families go through to allow their children to become elite level athletes, and that's something really close to our hearts with having 4 children currently on that journey. So my first question is, could you take me back to your earliest childhood memories when you was living at home with parents, and what family life was like back then for you?
Still live with my parents, but
Yep.
we can brush over that. I always say this to people that my childhood
Yep.
was so privileged,
Right. Okay.
and if you could like write down what you think a perfect upbringing would be like, perfect parents, perfect home life,
Yep.
it would be what happened to me when I was growing up.
Right. Okay.
My parents are amazing. My sister's amazing. We were like really close. We did everything together. We there's nothing hidden. Everything's out in the open on the table.
Okay.
So family life was always great, and people like not make fun of it, but like my partner's always like, oh, you've had a silver spoon and you had it really easy, and I did, and I'm grateful for it and always will.
Right. Okay. Okay. So with that then, was your parents say sporty as well, or did you say you have a sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is your sister sporty as well, or was she into like kind of any sports at school? Because I know I was reading that you used to play football quite a lot as well, didn't you? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, you had was it an ankle injury that you couldn't quite kind of recover from, and that's how you kind of took up snooker. So is like kind of sportiness through your family?
Well, my mum's not sporty.
Right.
I
Okay.
think if I ever see my mum run, I'd pass out on the floor. But my mum was she was a chess champion
Ah, right. Okay.
when she was
Fab.
younger.
Wow.
So
Cool.
she's very academic,
Yeah.
where my dad was a swimmer.
Right. Okay.
So my dad had, swam for our county
Yeah.
when he was younger, and
Wow.
even now, at like in his 60s, he's still like a fish.
Yeah.
But then obviously growing up, I got into football,
Right.
and that was everything.
Yeah.
But my sister's like not sporty at all.
Right. Okay.
She's very academic. But I think me and my mum always laugh about this. I think my earliest memory of when competitiveness came to fruition
Yep.
was we were on holiday, and I never knew my mum was a chess champion because I must have only been 6 or 7.
Right. Okay.
And she just kept beating me at chess, around the pool on like a little
Yep.
chessboard. And it, used to like make me cry. It's like, oh, I
Uh,
can't win. Oh, and I'd like throw big tantrums. Um, but yeah, I genuinely think that's like the earliest memory of
right.
being like, I hate losing. I can't
Yep.
do this anymore.
Okay. So what level was you playing your football at before you had to give that up?
So I'd made it to like reserve level of like the I don't know if they're in the National League or one below it.
Yep.
But I was in like the reserve side for them,
Right. Okay.
like a team that's quite local to here.
Right. Okay.
But I'd gone for they had like a feeder academy thing
Right.
that like fed up to the reserves when you were 18.
Yep.
And then you would obviously keep going. So
Right.
I'd been in the feeder team since I
Yep.
was 10 or 11.
Right. Okay. Okay. And then what was it that happened with your injury? Is it just something that just wouldn't kind of sort itself out?
I tore all 3 major ligaments in my ankle.
Right. Okay.
So there's the 2 that go down the side,
Yep.
straight down your calf, and then the one that connects them over the joint of your ankle.
Right. Okay.
I tore all 3 of them.
Yep.
And no one really said it, but I went to the hospital and they were like, "Oh, you've only sprained like X-ray and everything, or you've only sprained it. Here's some
Yeah.
crutches. You'll be back playing in 4 weeks."
Okay.
I didn't walk for 12.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and then after that, I finally went and got a second. I think it was after about 5, 6 weeks. I went and got a second opinion. Um, and they done some like scan type thing.
Yep.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called. And then they basically said like, we're gonna have to do something drastic to fix it.
Yep.
But we'll try uh, physical therapy first
Okay.
and see how much mobility you get back in it, and
Yep.
we'll have to just go from there because we don't want to like jump into anything and potentially make it worse.
Okay.
So I did physical therapy for months, and then after that, if I'm on my feet now for more than I don't know 3 4 hours,
Yep.
it aggravates it.
Okay. So then, how did you get into your snooker? How did that come about?
Um, because I'd played football like
Yep.
5 days a week then for maybe 8 years, 9
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I needed something to do,
Yeah.
something to put the drive into, and
Yeah.
the competitiveness and
Okay.
the effort. And what can you do when you can't walk?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You've got golf
Yeah.
and you've got snooker. And I'm so bad at golf that snooker it was. I think it was more kind of lucky because we were going golf a lot, me and a few of my friends.
Yeah.
And I was rubbish at it.
Yeah.
But I was just going anyway because I just needed something to do. But then
Yeah.
when I went to snooker, there was a man in there who'd seen me playing,
Yeah.
and he came over and he was like, "You look like you could be really good at this. Let me help you.
Yeah. Wow.
You look like with a bit of nurturing,
Yep.
you could really make a difference." So
Oh, right. Okay.
I think that was just kind of lucky that I picked snooker, and it was
Yeah.
purely because that person had said you could be really good at this, and then in my
Right.
brain, then I'm like, oh well, I've been good at something for so long, I
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
it again.
Right. Okay. So with that then, can you remember your first say wow moment in snooker?
Wow moment. That's like a loaded question. Um,
So with previous guests, for instance, we had Taj Minikon on, for instance. So he's an Australian professional footballer, and he got asked to go to Blackburn Rovers. It was like an all expenses paid kind of trip for, I think it was about 5 weeks that he was there for, and that was his first like kind of wow moment of like playing football is like kind of amazing. It's like really kind of like cool, and it kind of ignited the fire in his belly to like kind of really want to be a professional footballer. And not so long ago, we had Gina Kennedy on, who's Great Britain's #1 at squash. And she said that when it was the first British Open that she'd competed in. And she was coming out, and there was a massive picture of her like on the screen, and she was coming out to like music and like loads of flashing lights. And that was the first time where she thought like, wow, this is pretty special. This is pretty kind of like cool. So is there anything like that with like kind of your snooker that was like your
Um,
first like kind of wow moment?
I mean, I think that the thing that made me like really be like, I'm really gonna give this a go now.
Yeah, yeah,
Was at the first women's tournament that I entered,
yeah.
which was the EPSB British Open in
Okay,
Leeds, August 21.
yeah,
Um, I'd never really been in like a proper professional like a proper snooker environment. I'd only ever played like local leagues in like the
yeah.
pubs and stuff.
Okay.
Um, and then everyone's like, oh, she's this, she's that. Oh, this is like the #4 in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, she's like royalty. Um, and I got drawn her in the semi-final.
Wow.
Um, and I went 2-0 down. I brought it back to 2-2. And then
Cool.
I think she beat me on the pink in the deciding frame.
Wow.
And I was just standing there thinking like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I've just nearly beat the fourth best female player on the
Amazing.
planet. This is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
incredible.
Wow.
So I think that was the thing that made me be like, oh my God, I should
Yeah.
really knuckle down
Right.
and go
Okay.
for this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but the wow moments, I think, where were we? We were in Belgium, and I had a lot of stuff going on,
Yep.
and I'm outside, and I'm dead upset. Um, and it's like January, it's freezing. Me and my partner are like having this, trying to fix all the world's wrongs. And this young Belgian lad comes up to me, can't really speak English, and he hands me a book with my picture in, and gives me a pen and says autograph.
Oh,
And that was like, uh, I can't, you can't even describe what it's like that.
yeah.
How do people know who I am? How
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
someone like me have like a fan? Like
Yeah, yeah.
what?
Right.
I
Okay.
remember ringing my mum straight away, and I'm crying my eyes out, and my mum's
Oh,
like, "Oh my
bless
God, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, "Mum,
you.
someone's just asked me for my autograph."
Uh, so that's a pretty special like kind of wow moment as well, isn't it? And it's again when we've had all our guests on when they talk about the certain wow moments, the kind of moments that almost kind of give you goosebumps when you kind of like listening to them because you can tell it means like so much to like kind of the individual that's kind of talking about it. I always think it's quite a special moment that. So that's a nice like wow moment that, isn't it? I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely something
Yeah.
that it's nice to think about as well when there's all this other stuff going on, and
Yeah.
this might not be going the way you want it to,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then to just remember that it only takes one tiny thing to make such a massive difference.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So as we've mentioned, from starting like the World Women's Snooker Tour in 2021, and as you've previously mentioned, you'd won like the US and the Australian Open in 2022. However, as we dread, the success of winning the US Open was clouded by some kind of critical messages that you've kind of spoke about online following the victory, due to coming out as a transgender in 2019. And one of the hardest bits you'd mentioned was seeing your parents so upset with like kind of the sequence of events that unfolded. But then you've also won the World Billiards Championship, winning 304 to 148, I think it was, which is also another amazing victory considering you only kind of started playing in 21. Can I just ask how you personally cope with the peaks and troughs and the roller coaster of emotions of all the highs and then all the lows of your kind of journey so far?
I always get asked these questions. So um, I think trying to say how you cope with it
Yeah.
is difficult because
Okay.
some days you don't and some
Yeah.
days you
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
But obviously, like my home life is so good. My
Yeah.
mum and dad are amazing.
Okay.
me and my sister are like conjoined at the hip. You know, so straight away, if there's anything, it's
Yeah.
straight out there on the table.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you can get anything from them just listening, or they'll try and fix it, or
Okay.
you know, we might just sit there and drink cups of tea and laugh about, you know, something ridiculous. But
Yeah.
definitely, my home life is
Yeah.
a huge thing
Okay. Yeah.
in being able to do with it.
Yeah.
Um, I also dive myself into things that I like really enjoy doing. So I'm a big like aviation enthusiast.
Okay.
Um, I probably have a gaming addiction. You know, so you know I can throw myself into video games. You know,
Okay.
we go out and see some aviation, or you know, something that I do quite regularly is watch films, TV series, etc.
Yep.
that I've already seen before, but I know the feeling that it's going to give me from watching
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Um, I'm a firm believer in you've got to let it all out.
Yeah.
You can't keep hold of it.
Okay.
So if I'm feeling rubbish, down, feel like you know I'm going to explode because I've just got all this inside
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Stick a film on that makes you cry and let it out.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, and
Yeah.
and then obviously I've got my family and close friends that you know, there's people who you don't hear off often, and then next thing you know, you've got a text message that says, you know, I'm just checking in, and
Oh, yeah.
I've got this and that, and just things that you know, when things are going rubbish, and you
Yeah.
think that the world's against you, and you want
Yeah.
everything to like, you want the ground to swallow you up.
Yeah.
There's always something and someone somewhere who
Yeah.
cares.
Okay. So past guests have kind of spoken about, do you know, different kind of mental health like kind of problems that they've had. So we had Jory Davis on, and she's a professional basketballer, and she'd just been drafted to play for Indiana Fever. It was, and she'd been asked to sign for them. As I say, she'd been drafted. She had like kind of a picture on like buses, like slam dunking the ball, all like really kind of like cool things. And then before official practice started, she got cut. So she wasn't she for one reason or other she wasn't able to play for them. So she'd had like a massive high because it's something that she'd been dreamed of or been dreaming of, sorry, for so long, and she was almost kind of there, but then kind of had it taken away really kind of quickly. And she said for a period then, I mean, like she wouldn't go out. She was in a room. She does kind of talk about kind of being a little bit kind of depressed and things. Do you think like kind of specific events have affected you like kind of mentally then, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I, especially since coming out, I was always, you know, I'm thick-skinned. I can take anything. You know, it's me against the world. I'm an armadillo. I've got shields on my back. You know, I'm all good.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the US Open thing happened, which was like the first real,
Yeah.
really deep low.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I'm fine. I can deal with it. Obviously since because I just won the World Billiards Championship and got to world number one as well. So I had
Yeah.
things where I was like, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of this is worth it. Um, and then literally straight after all that happened, we went out to Australia. I went out to Australia to compete in the Australian Open.
Yeah.
And my dad's never been to Australia, so he came with me.
Oh,
And he's never actually watched me play in a
right. Okay.
tournament before.
Yeah.
So it was his first tournament, which it's a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
way to go for your first tournament. Um, but then having that straight after it, that was like, you know, taking me dad somewhere he'd always wanted to go was like so magical. It just
Yeah.
all dissipated behind it.
Wow.
Um, but then as it's all this like abuse on the internet and you know
Yeah.
all the debates about it and stuff are still going on and my
Yeah.
results have kind of dropped off.
Right. Okay.
You know, I've not won now since like October last year because my
Right. Okay.
results have started dropping off. There's no big thing on the other side of all of it that's like
Yeah.
picked me up out of it yet.
Right. Okay.
Um, and I had a really like traumatic experience at one event in like May. Um,
Right.
that kind of it affected my parents and also my granddad.
Oh.
They kind of like got roped into it, um, and that just I don't know. I just cracked,
Right.
straight up
Okay.
cracked.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to work. I couldn't go to practice. I was
Yeah.
just at home, locked away, stay out my way.
Yeah.
That was it. And now I've been diagnosed with a mental health condition from it.
Right. Okay. Right.
So it's not just like it was bad and then it was better and then it was bad, it was better.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like an actual something bad has actually come from it and it's probably going
Right.
to stick with me now forever.
Okay.
Um, but I'm on the way out of it now. We're on the
Okay.
ladder. We're still
Yeah.
not out the hole, but we're
Okay.
starting to learn how to manage.
Yeah.
And hopefully moving forward, it'll get quite easy. But
Okay.
effectively, as as awful as it sounds, you know, this has come from all of this. My health has
Yeah.
fell off a cliff because of it.
So at the top of the ladder, so to speak, is your aim to get back playing, say, professional snooker again, or how are you feeling about kind of snooker at the moment?
Um, it's took me love away from the game.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Um, you know, I've been I've been to two events now since all this happened in May, but I've
Yeah.
not practiced at all. I've just
Okay.
gone because
Yeah.
I can't, like, to me, I can't let myself down by not going.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just don't have the mental capacity and the energy
Yeah.
to go and practice.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'm kind of hoping that I just want to get back to my normal life. I want to
Yeah.
go back to work and go start going and seeing my friends and doing the things that I
Yeah.
like doing.
Yeah.
I used to practice 5 days a week and I loved it and it was
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And then now I've not been in 5 months.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're trying to
Okay.
get back there, like bit by bit with the
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
of you know the people around me and
Yeah. So
different things.
So, I think I think you've kind of answered my next question already. Would you say that your parents and like kind of your family have supported you, like say, on your journey then, to allow you to make it as a say professional snooker player, or when you was playing your football?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've
Yeah,
got even going back to when I was 12 and the team that I played for, because we won everything, we got picked to represent England at like an international event
how amazing! That's cool.
overseas.
Yeah,
But what parent or parents spend thousands of pounds to take me away to go and play
yeah,
in a football tournament as a child when I should be in school?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so
yeah,
got from the football, from me transition, even now to snooker,
yeah.
I just couldn't do it without him.
Because I know since I mean, like one of the reasons that we started doing the podcast was, like we'd mentioned at the start of the show, myself and my wife have four children. We have one tennis player, two footballers, and our youngest, she horse rides and plays kind of football, and they're all wanting to be professionals in their own individual kind of sports. Um, However, we wasn't sure because we wasn't from that bubble whether it should be so like kind of difficult with regards to like kind of training or kind of going away. Like my eldest, she travels around the UK playing tennis, but then she also travels around Europe kind of competing as well. And it might mean that my wife and myself don't see each other for a couple of weeks at a time because we're like kind of traveling. And I think again from speaking to professional athletes, it's almost reassured us, and we'd like to think it'd reassure other parents and families in that kind of same situation. That it is that kind of family support network that does kind of help the children to get where they want to be. So it is always nice and reassuring for a parent to kind of hear those stories of the not the sacrifices because you'd want to do that for your children. And you'd do anything for your children. However, it's just nice to hear that's the journey that professional athletes have like kind of been on and supporting the children and making them long trips to say like Australia or when you've been selected to represent say England with the football. It's just nice to kind of hear those stories as well. So when you look back on your journey, both kind of physically and mentally, would you say that climbing the mountain has been worth the view for you?
In terms of myself and
Yep.
now being who I am,
Yep.
in terms of that, I wouldn't be alive if I wasn't who I am today. So the view
Right.
of that is, you know, I like the Miley Cyrus quote as well, by the way, big Hannah Montana fan. But in terms of that, it was, that was a do or die situation,
Right.
and
Okay.
from that, um, that's just completely changed. Not just changed my life, changed my family life.
Okay.
Because obviously all the me as a adolescent was an absolute nightmare. So I think my mum and dad are happy now that I've calmed down
Right.
and
Okay.
started smiling a bit more. Um, I think snooker wise, when you're at the top and
Yep.
you're standing there and you've got this trophy and you're like, in that moment you're like, yeah, absolutely everything's worth it. But for me, it it's not the winning what it does to me, it's what it does to my dad and
Yep.
my mum. Like winning the billiards world championship, which was
Yep.
basically the first real major tournament that I'd ever won,
Yep.
and it also put me as world number one as well.
Cool.
Um, they didn't come with me. I normally just travel. It's normally just my partner that comes with me. I get home to, or we land at the airport. Mum, dad, sister, everyone's there. There's a big giant balloon with world number one on, and we like get home and there's cake, like a cake, and we have this big
Oh.
celebration for it, and
Yep.
like that
Yep.
was better than being in the room and
Right. Okay.
holding the trophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's more the effect of what it has
Yeah.
on the people that I love more than what it does to me.
Yeah, and I think that shows how close you are with like your family and like kind of your loved ones around you, like you've kind of spoken about today. It shows that, like you said, that's more important than actually winning the trophy. So that's a nice story as well. So as the show comes to an end, we have a tradition where we ask all our guests if they have any favourite quotes or philosophies that they've used to help them to get to where they are today. And one of our previous guests was Sophie Howard. So she plays professional football for Leicester City. She also plays for Scotland. And from an early age, her parents had mentioned to her that once you start something, finish it and commit to it wholeheartedly. And Sophie spoke about kind of tough times when she was at Reading. It was, and she said like if she wasn't using that kind of quote that her parents had like kind of mentioned to her, things could have worked out a lot kind of differently. So I was just wondering whether there was any like kind of famous quotes or philosophies that you've kind of used along the way to help you keep going.
Um, I'm sitting here now, trying to think of quotes. I'm not gonna say some of the quotes that my dad says to me, because PG-13 and all that. And
Bless you.
they're probably not something that would pick you up if you were down. Um, you've said that Miley Cyrus quote. Now that's the only thing that's coming into my head. Like, um, I don't know. I think all I can really remember
Yeah,
is the drive for me, especially with football when I was younger, didn't come from, you know, my mum, because my mum and dad weren't from a football
yeah,
background. They weren't really from a sport background because they didn't really do it.
yeah,
Only when they were like high school or college kind of age.
yeah,
The drive came from me, and it came from losing.
yeah,
Um, and I can just remember, being outside, trying to learn how to kick football with the wrong foot, and
yeah,
just thinking, this is boring, but I've got to do it
yeah, yeah,
just to because I just want to be the best.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't really think that there's any like quotes or philosophies, because I think
Okay.
everything changes so much every day.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, if you'd have asked me when I was 12 that I was
Yeah.
going to be a really good snooker player, I'd have laughed you out the room. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think but I do think that my my parents did really good with it when I was younger because my sister's not sporty.
Okay.
She's academic.
Yeah.
Just give her a shout out because she's got a PhD. Just gotta get that in there. So it was completely different. We were from two different sides of the spectrum. I wanted to be outside and play sports, and if you give
Yeah.
me like a textbook or a book or anything, I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Boring.
Okay.
Where she was the exact opposite.
Right.
And I don't know how, but we got around it.
Yeah.
And my mum and dad were always at my games out in the rain on a Sunday morning or
Yeah.
whatever. And thinking about it, because I'm like, I have no idea what my sister was doing at the time,
Yeah.
because
Right. Okay.
and all like when I went to represent England, what was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was always my dad was very critical of me, and he still is. Which is quite funny because he knows nothing about snooker. So when he tries to tell me you should be doing this, it's really funny because I'm like, you don't know what you're on about. They were really critical, but not. It wasn't pushy.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I don't really know how they mastered it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mum was more the one of, oh, stop it, she's upset from losing, leave her
Yeah.
alone. And my
Right.
dad's
Okay.
like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should
Yeah.
be doing that.
Okay.
And it was kind of like the balance between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the drive for me just it literally just came from within. I genuinely put it down to me mum beating me at chess when I was a kid, that I said earlier. I really do.
Right. Okay. Okay. So finally, then, what's next on your journey? Are there any future kind of like projects or plans that you can kind of share with us today that we can look out for?
I've got an event coming up in London in November, the
Right.
Women's Masters.
Cool.
Belgium's just been announced for January.
Right. Okay.
What else is there? I think we're heading to Albania for the first time in February.
Wow.
And then the World Championship will be around March time. I'm hoping to get a good end to the season
Yeah.
because I've got some. Well, I'm having major surgery like March, April time next year.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be off the table for 4 months, 5 months maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that I can get a good end to the season,
Yeah.
and then I can like my summer break's going to be longer than everybody else's.
Okay.
Hopefully, recharge the batteries.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Come back fresh.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I don't think there's not really any big projects. I think it's just more a case of I need to add to them 2 titles,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I think it's more of I need to concentrate more on my personal journey more than
Yeah. Right. Okay.
my sport journey.
Yeah.
I need to, sort my health out, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going through the surgery, so that's gonna take like a big hit on it.
Yeah.
I just need to find the balance between my mental health, my
Yeah.
physical health, and then my like work and sport.
Right.
I had a balance for it, and I've lost it, so I need to try and, ground myself and
Yeah.
get back to it, and then hopefully with that, then the results should start coming, because I do think that everything outside of your sport is also as important as what's in it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. So, Jamie, thank you so much for being a guest on Elite Children, a Family Portrait. I'm sure the listeners and viewers at home can definitely not see that they're not alone in raising elite level children. And over the past couple of seasons of the show, we've had so many inspirational, motivational, and resilient guests on the show telling some amazing stories. So thank you for adding to that today. Good luck with your future plans and your future snooker tournaments that you've got coming up. I'm sure with a mindset and a personality like we've briefly heard today, I'm sure the rest of your career will be a huge success. So Jamie Hunter, thank you so much for being a guest on Elite Children, a Family Portrait.
Well, thank you very much. My pleasure.
No problem. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you.